who I want to appeal to make those little slips. It happens. You have to have a plan to manage your problems effectively. How are you going to do it? Fall off the horse? Just jump right back on.
And welcome back. It is a beautiful Friday, and Jenny is in with us. Jenny, of course, Jenny Lovell, mental health expert, here with us. And this morning, we're here to discuss alcoholism in celebration season.
No, alcoholism. I was just going to say, I don't know if it's alcoholism. It's just how to monitor your alcohol intake during the holidays, right? Yeah. So not everybody's an alcoholic. Right. I saw that too, and I was supposed to say something.
Right. Okay.
But a lot of people consume alcohol. Many people consume alcohol, myself included. Yeah. But it's the question of knowing how much, what's too much, what it can do. Mm-hmm. And we have Jenny with us this morning to discuss that. And one of the things that we do have to say is that Jenny is actually an addiction specialist as well.
Okay.
So in addition to being a mental health expert, I know that's one of your areas of specifications as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So we appreciate you being here, and I know while a lot of people want to cover their ears right now, let's hope they pick up a thing or two.
I hope people listen. I'm not here to tell people not to drink, and I'm not here to judge. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I was impressed by, I guess, is that Juve, how many of the young kids were drinking. And people, they have coolers and folks are drinking and not monitoring how much alcohol they're taking in. And I know we've gone through Carnival, we've gone through Juve, but we still have all the concerts. We still have 21st, and the Bramming won't happen after the 21st. And so these are important. It's really important to consider these things I'm going to talk about alcohol. And not alcoholism, alcohol abuse.
Alcohol abuse, okay.
Right, because we do a lot of binge drinking. And so I thought it was important that we discuss this.
Absolutely. Okay. So where do we start?
Well, I put some of the fun things still left to do, the Michelle concert, and with Panyard. So there are still some things that people are going to get, the old school dance that's coming up.
Yeah,
lots of stuff,
there are
lots of stuff still. And people drink a lot also at Expo. So those are all the things that we really need to look at.
Okay.
So what I have here, and I know we don't have canned beers here, we have bottled beer. But a bottle of Bellikin has the same alcohol content as a glass of beer or a glass of wine or a shot of pure alcohol. Same alcohol content, 14 grams of alcohol.
Wow.
Yeah. So people would say things like, well, I don't drink hard liquor, I drink beer or I drink wine. Well, you're getting the same alcohol content for the same glass of wine.
Yeah.
So that's very important for people to understand.
Yeah.
Right?
The quantity is different. That's what makes the difference.
Right. If you drink, on the next slide will illustrate that.
Okay.
Know your limit. It's really important because I see folks like those Jello Shots. They just opened up a bar across from our family home. And the guys do these, the Jello Shots. Or they have the tequila shots where they put something in the bottom of the bottle and then they swill it, right? And they spit the money out, or the quarter out, or whatever it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Playing with danger there.
Really playing with danger, because you could gag, all kinds of things can happen, right? But think about this: if you're 100 pounds, like Marlene, right? You're 100 pounds. You take one drink, Marlene, one drink, and you're already at point 0.04. Legal impairment. You're already impaired. If you look at this, it says you're impaired. But legally, to not drive or ride a bicycle or drive a boat, any kind of thing that requires you to go out there and manipulate some sort of a vehicle. 2 drinks and you're legally at 0.08. Yeah. 2.
Yeah, you can see it in the chart there.
If you look at this,
we see green, yellow, and red, right? So there's a possibly influenced, impaired, which means you're kind of like halfway,
right?
And then legally intoxicated, right? And what I see is you have the number of drinks that would lead that correlates with the body weight to talk about what your consumption can be, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm talking about the person who is 100 pounds, right? But you also look here at the person, say for example, 160 pounds. Let's look at 160 pounds. At the slide, oh, they have the wrong slide.
That's
up.
what we'll fix it. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you look at the slide at 160 pounds, you have 3 drinks. You're already at 0.07. 0.08, and you are legally drunk.
Legally drunk, yes.
For driving a vehicle. Now, granted, we don't use the breathalyzer here or any of those things, but if you get into an accident and they do your blood alcohol level, you're going to be legally drunk. All right? So it's really important that people realize this. And later on, when I talk about tips, some of the things that you can do instead of, just slamming down drinks. Because folks stand up and they'll tell you, I have a drink and 12 beer, no problem. Right? Or, I do that when I stand up there to listen to the band. I have a 12 beer.
Quick question though. You did mention that the amount of beer or a glass of beer, a glass of wine, a shot of alcohol, they've got the same. But some folks might say, you know what, the amount of time I take drinking a beer or drinking a glass of rum does matter, does it?
In an hour. You see, if you drink 5 of these, the American system says if you drink 5 of these drinks within 2 hours, that's binge drinking. Okay? That's binge drinking. So if you stand there at a party and you're standing in the bar and you're having a beer, you get done, somebody hands you another beer. You do all of this in an hour, not 2 hours. In an hour, you may have had 3-4 beers. You're legally impaired. You're impaired.
So let's go back to what we saw on the chart, because I think it's really crucial to see. One, body weight matters. So the lighter you are, obviously, the easier you will be influenced by the alcohol.
Right.
You're talking, let's say, a male who may be 240. Let's go to the end of the spectrum. By his 5th drink, he's legally intoxicated.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We have people who mix drinks. They'll stand there and they'll have beer, and then they'll have these shot, what they call chasers, right? So they'll have a shot of clear alcohol and have a beer chaser, right? And but people drink like this,
Yes.
okay? And that's normal. It's very normal. And I think here, people don't want to hear about, don't talk about my alcohol intake. But it's really important that you understand that you should not go out there and drive a vehicle after you have had X number of drinks. And it's important that you know,
Of course.
as the person using the alcohol.
Another quick question. Does it matter what you eat before going to consume alcohol? Eating something heavy and go and you drink the 5 bottles of beer or 5 glasses of rum within the hour. Does that matter?
It can. You can have, I probably have 1 drink more. Okay. But that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, we suggest that people eat before you go out drinking. We want you to eat before. We'd like you to, in between drinks, to drink water.
Yeah.
Because you need to hydrate yourself, because the alcohol dries out your system.
Yeah.
Right. Very important.
So, I mean, to me, this is startling. And one of the things that I think we hear so often is that people say, "Oh, I can handle it. I can handle it. I can drink 10 beers and I'll be perfectly okay." Why is it that isn't it true that some people are better at handling alcohol than others? Is it? Or have some people built up more tolerance? True or false? I don't know.
Okay. Alcohol affects your midbrain, right?
Okay.
It affects your frontal lobe.
Okay.
Now, your frontal lobe is where you make good decisions. And if that's affected and you're impaired, you're going to think that you can drive better.
Very important.
Think you drive
Very
better.
important.
You think that you are handling things better. But you're not, because it's already, your frontal lobe has already been affected.
Yeah.
My next slide is going to show that.
Yeah.
But this was very important. This was really, really important that people see this. I'm sorry, it's the wrong thing up there. Because
we'll get it up.
people need to understand the quicker you are down in these drinks, the quicker you're becoming impaired. There it is. You're becoming more impaired. Okay? And it's very little alcohol. But alcohol really and truly affects your brain.
It does.
profoundly. Okay, we're going to talk about that in a minute, and we'll probably come back to this. But
Okay.
you think that we've established this pretty good?
Well, I think the look on when you watch the chart, it gives you the impact I think you're going for, which is it takes very little to get you to that point of legal intoxication, and this is legally by the limits set in the United States,
Right.
But well grounded in research as to why this is their legal intoxication
Very
level.
much so.
Yeah.
In fact, it used to be 0.10, and they lowered it to 0.08 because at 0.10, people were really and truly so intoxicated.
Intoxicated, yeah.
They were a severe danger to self and others, right? So they lowered it to 0.08. The other thing to remember is that the rate at which the alcohol leaves your body, how long you stay drunk. I was just talking with a friend this morning about the fact that you have a 0.1, you drink 4 drinks and you're at 0.15. It takes 11 hours for that to get out of your system.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's in your system that long.
You know, and some people find it funny and fun that when they wake up, they still wake up
High, buzzed.
And this is actually a big talk, you know. So it's actually a praise to wake up high, and this is not a good thing,
Yeah.
especially in times like this.
We were standing close to a friend at Carnival, and she kept saying, "I don't want to lose my buzz. I don't want to lose my buzz." So she said, "And get a beer," and she drank another beer. We waited before the carnival started, possibly about an hour, and I'm sure she had at least 6 or 8 drinks.
Yeah.
Beer, Lighthouse, before the carnival reached us, and then she continued to drink.
Yeah.
Right? She had kids with her.
Yeah.
So that's just one example. We saw lots of that happening around.
And I want to, we know the drinking habits, or I think we've all come in contact with the drinking habits of Belizeans, and it's interesting because I always find when people leave Belize and perhaps live somewhere else, and then they come back home, then they realize how much we drink. But if you only stay here, you will really believe it's completely normal. Right?
Functional alcoholism.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the other one because I think this is a critical point.
So, alcohol abuse, I'm not even talking about the people who are dependent or what we call alcoholics. This is just the abuse of alcohol.
How do you know you abuse alcohol?
How do you know? If your use is causing you problems, if it's causing you problems, then you're abusing. And it says alcohol abuse is drinking that causes harm to health. So if you're drinking and you're getting ulcers and you're getting all kinds of things go wrong with you, it's causing problems to your health. Second, relationships. If you're getting drunk and beating your wife and beating your kids, right? You're losing your friends because when you get drunk, you break things in their homes, all these kinds of things.
And I was going to say, it doesn't always have to be domestic abuse. It could just be belligerent or irresponsible behavior.
That's right.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it affects health. Money. If you're spending the rent to go buy alcohol, or if you're not paying your child school fees, the things you're using the money that should be used for your life, you're spending it recklessly on alcohol for you and your friends. Is it causing you a problem? That's a problem.
That is a problem.
Yeah.
Right? Ability and the ability to work. If I can't show up for work, or I come to work and I'm high, and I can't function, they have to send me home, or I come in and I sleep, I go find a place to go sleep. Is it affecting me at work? Yes. If it's a problem for me in these 4 areas, I am abusing alcohol, and that's the lesson. That's the message I really want people to hear.
You know, when I tell people this, because I think we've spoken about it in some other context, they still think, that alcohol abuse is tied to perhaps dependency, where you have to shake in order to wake, or you have to drink every single day or get drunk every single day. But this is, in fact, I think, one of the simplest explanations, because, in other words, your habit of alcohol abuse is ruining your life in another area, but you still feel compelled to continue.
Absolutely. And if that's the other thing, if you can't stop, though that goes into the dependence thing.
Yeah.
If you can't stop, you're promising your wife, you promise your family you're going to quit using. Now you're moving into a whole different realm. Right. This is just the problems that it's causing in your life. that makes it abusive. Okay. Now, I put here one about how alcohol affects the brain.
Yes.
Remember we talked about the prefrontal lobe here.
Yep.
That's the front of the brain. That's for things like making good decisions.
Yeah.
Well, if that's impaired, what are you going to be doing? You think you can drive really well under the insulin. And people will tell you that I drive better when I drink.
And they have no idea they're swerving. It's like when you tell somebody, you know, you're kind of staggering. No, I'm walking fine.
Good.
In their mind, they're walking fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
To the sober people around,
They're not.
not at all.
But we hear it a lot whereby I prefer, and check this out, a lot of people say drinking, then go driving is very dangerous. And check this out. They'd tell you, you know what, I prefer to drink while I drive. Why would they want to do this?
Because they're already impaired. They're already impaired.
I have heard that a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, one thing that has to be established, and this has been one of the messages coming out of the road safety unit for quite a while, is that we really need to change that mentality. A lot of our accidents are caused by alcohol use, and we have to accept it and simply say that a statement like that is totally false. One, it is dangerous to drink and drive. You put your life at risk, your passenger life at risk, and sober, healthy people on the road are at risk as well.
Absolutely. The thing is you shouldn't be riding a bicycle.
That's right.
You shouldn't be driving a boat. There are lots of things. You shouldn't be taking care of your kids, really and truly.
If you're drinking.
Yeah.
If you're that impaired, your coordination becomes affected too. So you see these people and they're kind of not able to walk. They're really uncoordinated, and they think that they're moving really well.
Yeah.
But that's again the prefrontal lobe.
Yeah.
Okay. Decision making skills affected, right? Okay. Number 2. This is the midbrain. This is when people lose control. You see them when they're drunk, they start crying, or
get angry,
or get really angry. This is the part where they become a danger.
A violent.
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
And if they already have
Out
a violent temperament, then that's when it'll go out of control. Right. This is also where the person has a chance to go into a blackout. Now, what's a blackout? People think blackout is that they fall asleep or something. They don't. A blackout is what we call, it's alcohol-induced amnesia, right? It's just like your brain is not doing anything, right? It's almost as if you scoop out a piece of your brain and throw it away. Because that's memory you'll never get back. Not ever. It's gone. So a blackout, people say, he say, you don't remember that. He probably doesn't. He probably doesn't because he has no recollection.
And this is where sometimes people don't believe the behavior that they've had the following day. So if you say, well, Jenny, I see you yesterday and how you made a behave behind the truck. Jenny said, no way, not me. I would never do that. And you're convinced.
Yep.
Because with a properly functioning brain, Jenny would
not do that. But
so at that point now, it's the mid part of your brain that is acting there.
Yeah. Okay. Now back here, what we call the brain stem or the limbic system or the old reptilian brain. In that section, remember that's the section that controls breathing, the basic things for living, for life. So it affects your heart rate, body temperature, appetite, consciousness. A dangerous and potentially fatal condition because that's the part when it's affecting that part of your brain, all kinds of things can happen that affect just life itself.
Now, does it happen in stages? First the frontal lobe, and then the midbrain, and then the limbic system? Like with the more alcohol?
The more alcohol. The more alcohol that
so
you
the
get.
first affected is always the frontal lobe. And that's also what controls part of your impulses as well, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's when you get the person who thinks that, okay, stumbling and I could drive.
Yeah. Or I am the coolest dancer on the dance floor, right?
That's right. All right.
We've seen those.
Oh, I've seen many.
So now what I want to talk about is alcohol poisoning. You remember we've had people who died from alcohol poisoning in our country, and even in places where they put them to be safe, and people didn't know that they were actually in alcohol poisoning stage. And people have died, right? And it's very important that everybody understands about alcohol poisoning, because you don't want to put somebody who has drunk that much to lie down. And you don't want to leave them thinking, well, I put them to bed so now I can. No, that's when you need to monitor them. Really and truly, you need to call call 911, call Bruk, call somebody, and then make sure that you have them sitting up, right? But alcohol poisoning is a serious, sometimes deadly consequence of drinking large amounts of alcohol in a short period of time. Okay, alcohol poisoning results from binge drinking.
What's binge drinking? What do you classify as binge drinking?
Oh, I'll tell you that. Men, 5 or more alcoholic drinks, and I'm talking in an hour. Just
in 2 hours, you have here.
Just putting these down. Here in Belize, it's 1 hour. You know that. This is the American. This is the American definition.
Binge drinking is a trend here, because people would stand up by a spot for about half an hour, 15, 20 minutes, and drink about 5 beer. So this is dangerous.
And women, it's in 2 hours, 4 more drinks. Right. It's not very much different for women. But we because of our weight and because of other things, we don't have the enzyme to break down the alcohol. We tend to get drunker quicker. Okay. Very, very important. I put a picture up there of alcohol poisoning, how they're kind of loping this guy out. We've seen a number of these. But people need to understand that you have to really be careful, because the gag reflex is not working, so they can't really vomit it out. So it ends up choking them and they die, right? So some of the symptoms are here: disorientation, vomiting, hypothermia. They get very, very cold, right? They can't stay conscious. So if they are lying down, you want to try to prop them up, let them sit up. You don't want them lying down, because they will choke on their own vomit.
They'll choke.
They can't really walk. Their coordination is totally gone. Their pulse will be very irregular. I'd really like people to look through these. They can get seizures, depressed breathing, choking. You ever see guys who get drunk, how they pee on themselves or they do stuff to themselves and everybody's laughing at them? But those are people who are showing signs of
alcohol poisoning.
Alcohol poisoning, the skin also, the fingertips will be blue, the lips will be blue. Okay.
You know, there are different trends.
It's scary watching this, because I think we've all seen people get to this stage at some point in time.
It occurs
whether
day.
it's vomiting, inability to stay conscious. Obviously, many people lose the total ability to walk. They pass out completely. And, I mean, this is potentially fatal.
We've seen a lot, especially with the younger generation, going out drinking with friends, and it also depends on the amount of alcohol that one would bring. Because if I tell you bring one elephant foot, you bring one elephant foot, and we've got 3, and it's only 5 of us, what happens is this: they tend to drink and drink until they feel like they want to throw up. They throw up to continue, because they want to finish the entire bottles. A lot of the bottles. Now this is dangerous.
Yeah, you're telling me.
What do you say to these? Because it happens a lot, especially with the younger folks. What do you say?
It happens in all ages. I want to say that much, because we see people of all ages, not just young people, who see a bottle in front of them and feel they have to finish it.
That you see, that's scary, because that's more looking like dependence, where they won't leave until that bottle is finished. Right? That's that inability to stop. So that's something then that we would be assessing if we were looking at alcoholism. They don't call it that anymore, but alcohol misuse. Those are the things we'd be looking at.
And there's also the thought that it's cool to tell your friends tomorrow, man, me, Jenny, and Marlene knocked down 3 liter of rum. And to them, that's a cool thought. That's dangerous.
It's dangerous and scary. It really is. And a lot of your college students are into binge drinking, because especially those Jello shots. I keep talking about these Jello shots. I see people doing the Jello shot, and they will down several of these things.
Because it takes a while for it to be processed in your body.
Right. Or I notice now they're serving Long Island iced teas here. You know how many shots are in a Long Island iced tea? Oh, let's say it out loud. There are 7 clear shots of alcohol in a Long Island iced tea. And people will drink 2 of those and think that's cool.
And each one of the shots has
14 grams of alcohol.
14 grams of alcohol. There's 7 in one.
Yeah.
People drink 2, 3.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
So what do we do if we see people?
If you
Okay, so let's say you go out with your friends and somebody passes out.
They-
Vomits, pass out, can't walk.
Please don't leave them there just like that, thinking, well, he's just drunk, because you don't know. But really and truly, what we say, call 911. But Bert, I heard the Bert people on your show say, call us first, because then we still have to go through the police, and it goes around, then it finally gets to them. Call Bert. Don't wait. All right. You want to make sure that you keep the person awake as much as you can. All they want to do is sleep, but you want to try to keep them awake as much as possible. You want to prop them up. You don't want them lying down, because again, like I said, the gag reflex is not working. They can choke on their own vomit and die. Okay. If conscious, you want to try to get them to drink some water slowly. Now give them more alcohol. You want to give them water. Okay. If unconscious, you want to roll them on the side so that if they vomit, it will come out of their mouths and not go into the throat. Okay. And I know my friend was laughing last night about the fact that I said you need a blanket, but they get very, very cold. It's hypothermia. So you want to have a blanket or something to wrap around them if you see them start trembling.
Yeah.
Okay. So these are my tips.
Let me ask you one question before that. So here's the thing. We've all dealt with people who are inebriated. They're not easy to deal with.
Oh, don't I know it?
To tell someone they've had too much to drink, to tell someone who's inebriated you're not going to drive, to tell them stop drinking, have water.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you got to get your boxing gloves on and your face mask on and get ready for a battle. Not physically, but because it's hard.
Yeah, it is.
What's your advice? And a lot of people are battling with abuse of alcohol. What is your advice to people? Let's say it's a mother who has children exposed to their drunken father and wants them to stop drinking, What's your advice to them to say how to intervene?
Sometimes, I'll tell you right now, it's not easy to intervene. And if you have an abusive father in the home who has been drinking and comes home, you're walking on eggshells already. You don't want to say anything to him. You don't, because you will get into a domestic violence situation. Right. I call the police or I call the ambulance. Have him taken in, especially if I think that he may be in the place where he needs help. He's had so much to drink, he could die. I call the ambulance. But if it's a situation where it's going to get ugly, have a safety plan. How you going to get you and your kids out of that home. Right.
And if it's your friend and they want to drive and you cannot, you have to wrestle the key away from their staggering behavior.
You have to wrestle the key away. You have to wrestle the key away. You have to. I would not. Don't get in a car with a drunk person. Do not get in a car with a drunk person who's the driver. Okay. Don't do it. And really, if you love them enough, you want to take that key away from them. And yes, they'll get belligerent, but you got to get the key away. I would not let them drive. Tips for having fun, because we still have some. This is the fun month.
This is a fun month.
You need to decide beforehand when you're going out how many drinks you're going to have. And since you know when you're impaired, since I've just told you how many drinks will make you impaired, you need to decide just how many drinks you're going to have over what period of time. So if you're going to be out dancing until 4 o'clock in the morning, you can decide how you're going to have your drinks. Maybe one per hour, and drink water after that, or drink soft drinks, whatever. But decide beforehand, and then make sure you don't have, if you know you can't stop yourself, make sure you don't have enough money to be able to go buy drinks. Okay?
That's a good plan.
Very good.
Second, pace yourself. You really want to make sure that if you're drinking alcohol, the next drink should be water, because you have to hydrate yourself. Okay. And the thing is, you can walk around and have in your glass water with a cherry in there, Nobody needs to know that's not a clear vodka with cherries.
I have friends who put a tap of Coke in there just so it looks.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate you have to do that because there's a lot of peer pressure, but.
Exactly. So you need to decide, I need to rehydrate myself. Put something in there so people don't know and try to send you drinks or buy you more drinks. But get your water and make it look like you have a drink.
And just before we continue, and I keep on with this one because I asked the question last week to the folks from Bert.
Yes, I know.
Alcohol and energy drinks, because we want to keep up with our friends. We want to be able to walk from point A to point B. I got up at 4:30 this morning. The party ends until 4 tomorrow morning. I want to be able to stay up, so I'll consume some energy drinks. This is dangerous, Jenny. What do you say to this?
That's like one of the worst combinations you can have. Yeah.
Really dangerous.
There's songs out there, Red Bull and Guinness, this and that, and this is.
Can you explain that there is a science behind it? Alcohol is a depressant, and energy drinks are an upper. So where your body is failing, you are still having the energy because the shutdown is like a self-protective mechanism.
Right.
Yeah.
And you drink 2 Red Bulls, and your body is trying to keep, to do something that the alcohol has stopped it from doing. Very, very dangerous, and I mean dangerous to your heart.
Yes.
Confuse the mind.
Yeah, absolutely. But young people, we just have to educate. Just keep saying it to them until they hear.
I do talk about the energy drink alcohol combination quite often. I think, I once read a study on it, and it really is amazing. It's like your body does what it needs to do to survive when you've had too much alcohol. The vomiting, the shutting down, all of that is like, I cannot take anymore, I have to stop.
Right.
And then the energy drinks keeps you going. So you're going beyond what the body limit, your body can be able to process. But that aside, I thought you were going to say, and I do want to include it, there's also the dehydration. So Carnival's gone, that's one example. But if I'm out in the sun and my body is going to be dehydrated, how does alcohol, it affects you more, right?
It dehydrates you even more because alcohol, ETOH, hello. It really dehydrates your body. So you have to keep hydrating. And again, the suggestion, have a bottle of water after every drink.
Yeah.
So pour the water into your glass, pour it into your bottle if you want to, and make sure that you're drinking water.
Yeah.
Right. So for every drink, a bottle of water.
And and I like that you said that because the water is even cheaper. And you're actually protecting yourself from getting into a dangerous situation.
The danger, yes.
So with only $1, you buy some water.
Buy water.
And you drink some water following a glass of.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's finalize those tips.
So have a plan for getting home safely. If you go out with people, and here we don't plan for a designated driver most times. So you could be with somebody who turns out to be drunk. Don't ever get in a car with a drunk person. So you need to have an alternate plan for getting home. Okay. Have credit on your phone to call somebody from home. Have money in your pocket for a taxi. Always have taxi fare in your pocketbook. Always, 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 especially women.
Yeah.
Okay. Have some way of getting home. Go out as a group. I don't suggest any of our ladies to go out by yourselves. If you're going out with your boyfriend, one thing, but if not, you're going out with girls, you need to go out as a group and stay as a group and go home as a group.
Yeah.
And don't get into situations where you become isolated, like going to the bathroom or getting caught up in the crowd and you can't get back to your group. You need to stay as a group. Bring only the money you need and leave your valuables at home. Don't wear them, don't put them in your pocketbook and bring it with you. You're asking for trouble. Especially when you go out to go pay for drinks or things like that. People see things in your purse and you become a target. Okay. If you have children, be sure you have a babysitter. Now let's talk about that. If you're planning to drink, that babysitter needs to be at home with your kids through the part where you become sober again. Remember, it takes how many hours?
11.
Right. To get the one drink out of you.
Safety plan. If there's a history of domestic violence.
Yes, if there's a history of domestic violence, you're going home and you don't know what you're going to be meeting up, but you have a man there who might be very jealous and very upset. You need to have a safety plan for yourself and your children if you have children. But have all these things ahead of time. Don't just leave and go at the spur of the moment and not have a plan. Okay. Remember date rape drugs? I really wanted to just point that out because that's still very prevalent. So they're odorless, they're colorless, and they're tasteless. So you don't know what somebody has put in a drink. So make sure nobody comes and hands you a drink and you drink it. Yeah. You go purchase your own drinks, or if somebody wants to buy a drink, you go and see that it's open in front of you and you take it yourself. And don't leave your drink sitting down, go dance and come back and pick up that drink. Don't do it.
That's dangerous.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Okay. And then finally, consider some alternatives. I mean, hey, you can dance and have fun without having a whole lot of alcohol. Dancing alone by itself is fun, right? So I want to encourage people to think about alternatives when you're out, to just dance, just have fun.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
So we covered everything, and it is an extremely important topic. And Jenny, we appreciate you coming in. And of course, the closing tips, I think, are what's most important, because ultimately we all want to have fun. We're in a celebration mode.
Yes, we are.
But just be conscious of how much you're having, and have your own safety mechanisms in place
Put
as
them in
well.
place.
Yeah.
Plan before you go out. Don't just get up and run out. Plan.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much, Jenny.
My pleasure.
We're going to go ahead now and take a break, and we'll be back in a few. Stay tuned.
All right.
These are the people who I want to appeal to. Make those little slips. It happens. You have to have a plan
Push this up, right?
to manage your problems effectively. How are you going to do it? Fall off the horse? Jump right back on.